Beautiful and strong people, welcome to the Squat Mastery, the place in which we're going to learn the nuances of the squat technique and how to properly generate force from the setup to the execution itself. Just a caveat before we're actually going to begin. I want you guys to take this course step by step. If you guys like to just go through the whole course in one day, I'm definitely fine with it. But when it comes to the application of the cues and the advices that I'm actually going to provide for you in this course, I really want you guys to take it small. Okay, so just grab one cue, one particular subject, test it out in training. Once you're actually feeling it, once you're actually connecting with it, you can move to the next one. Because the squat together with the bench and with the deadlift is going to slow down a lot if we're overthinking things. And this is something that I've actually been dealing with in the past myself and some clients of mine on when I actually started to dive a little bit more deeper into the nuances of technique, which I've seen that things start to slow down a lot. And that becomes very frustrating. It is a necessity to actually slow down. It is a necessity to actually pull back some of the load that you're usually used to train with. So you can actually connect with these cues. So you can actually connect with your body and see exactly the positions in which you should be to actually generate most force possible. So it's okay to actually, take your estimated 1 rep max and just, remove something like 10 pounds, 5 kilos under what it is usually estimated, or even more than that. So you can actually progress through and really have the time to master these cues. Because it's going to be a pretty comprehensive course. You're going to have some courses that are very short, so we're just finishing it in like 5 to 7 minutes. Some others might actually have a longer length. We might actually go up to 20 to 30 minutes. So I really want to make sure that you're taking your time with them and you're not rushing the process. So without further ado, let's start with the squat mastery. Before we actually dive a little bit deeper into the technique, we need to understand what mastery is really all about. Okay? Because mastery begins with understanding where we should be going. Okay, and for that, I'm going to show you as a first glance exactly the roadmap. So the subjects that we're actually going to touch upon, so you understand the pacing of it and you understand where your focus should be as you're going through the courses. Okay, this isn't a course only about squatting heavier. It's a course about squatting better for a lifetime. So this is actually going to prepare you to squat heavier with a better technique and with less injury risk. Now let's see why squat mastery really matters. I want you guys to actually take a look at this individual squatting like this and this individual squatting like this. Okay, so now we are all unique in our way of squatting. So if you're trying to take your favorite powerlifter or strength athlete and try to replicate the way he's actually squatting, you're gonna have a bad time. It's not really going to work as well for your body as you believe it will be. So during this course, we're really going to try and explore the principles and the nuances of squatting and adapt them to your own body. Because some people, you're going to see people that for the first time, they're grabbing the bar on their back and they're just, squatting like a perfectly executed squat. And some other people just, let's say, are not really blessed. They don't really have the leverages to squat properly and may potentially take a longer time for them to master the squat for their own body. So the squat mastery doesn't really mean that the squat should be looking pretty. It's not about how pretty the squat is. It's about how efficient the squat is, because that's what keeps you injury free. That's what keeps you secure. That's what keeps you building strength, and that's what keeps you becoming stronger. So proper technique is going to mean more load and less injury risk. The less time you can get injured, the more you can actually progress, and of course the more load you're actually going to put on the bar. Okay, so it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, as let's say cliche as it would sound. So the squat efficiency carries over the deadlift, bench, and athletic performance. Because contrary to what many people believe, squat being a leg exercise, squat is actually a full body exercise. And there I say the deadlift and the bench itself is a full body exercise. All the power lifts involve pretty much all the muscles of your body. Some of the muscles have to pretty much keep a postural tone and keep the joints stacked so you can actually generate force with the moving joints and of course, be able to lift the barbell up. So being stronger in the squat is going to improve your deadlift. Being stronger in the deadlift is going to improve your squat. And being stronger in the squat is going to improve your bench. And of course, the deadlift, being stronger in the deadlift, is going to improve your bench. Unfortunately, the bench doesn't really have that much transference to the squat and to the deadlift. But when it comes to the leg drive on the bench press, we're going to get into that on the next module. You can really generate a lot more force with a solid leg drive and, of course, with a very solid back. So the other thing about the mastery is it compounds. The small wins, the small improvements stack over time. And this is where I pointed out the fact that we need to take things slow. We don't want to rush this process. We want to take every small step at a time so we can actually stack those small wins and we can improve our mastery. So focus on alignment first. Focus on the rib cage over pelvis after that. Take things slow. You're going to start to have those aha moments. So this is what I should be looking for. This is what I should be feeling. And as you're going to become stronger, as you're going to be bigger, you're going to build muscle, squat is going to change, but you're just going to be better at noticing where your focus should be. So what squat mastery looks like? Well, first of all, squat mastery is efficient because there is no wasted motion. Every step has a purpose. Every step that we're actually doing is calculated, and you don't need to make any calculations. You don't need to, grab a piece of paper and a pen and do math in there. Your body is going to do that for you. Your central nervous system will know exactly what it should be doing because he or she, for a matter of fact, has already been doing that math before because you've actually trained it. Okay? Mastery is also stable because stability is the foundation of strength. You can't generate strength if your joints are all over the place. So you need your joints to actually be stacked. You need your joints to actually hold position so it can actually generate strength. Mastery is also powerful because the strength is expressed without leaks, and it comes back to the stability component because when your joints are stacked, there is no leakage of force. When your joints start to actually lose the stack and lose stability, that's when power starts to actually leak. And lastly, mastery is repeatable. With the same quality, every repetition, every session, we're attacking it every day in the same way, just like a reflex. So in the squat mastery, we're going to go over alignment, the bar placement, rack height, midfoot. We're going to start with this because this is absolutely fundamental. If the equipment that we're actually using does not allow us to get into a proper setup, we're going to have a bad time. We're not going to be able to actually follow the other components. And pretty much the way I've actually laid everything out is so every one of these actually potentiate the other. We're going to learn about the rib cage over pelvis or stacking the torso for brace, which is going to be absolutely fundamental to generating force, lat engagement and bracing itself, and how that influences our torso position and our torso stack, rooting our feet and how the simple fact that we're actually focusing on our feet is going to tremendously bring more stability into the setup. Of course, tension, which is absolutely paramount to generating force against the barbell, the walkout and how its efficiency can actually save us energy and be able to be more efficient with the execution. And of course, the execution itself, which honestly, if we're taking care of the principles from 1 to 6, the execution just comes by itself. So we don't really need to overthink execution in any kind of manner. We're also going to go through variations and individual differences and how those might actually influence the technique of our squat. We're also going to go through some common faults and identifying those common faults by troubleshooting and finding fixes for each and one of those. So without further ado, this is my promise to you. If you're this kind of guy with rush setups, inconsistent bar path, brace loss under load, and just absolutely confused about the squat, after running the course and following it step by step, my promise to you is that you're going to have a more methodical setup, you're going to have a stable bar path, and repeatable performance under heavy load. This is how much faith I have in this course and in this information that I'm actually going to provide you that has been changing lives of my clients, and it definitely is going to change your life. So without further ado, let's get into lesson 1. I'm going to catch you later.